Hi everyone, thanks for joining us. Back here with Jeff. He's back from the trip, so we're going to be able to dive into another video. We're going to we're going to ask him, of course, how it was, what he did, and then go over the property a little bit. First things first, Jeff, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Good. Well, look, let's kick it off. Let's jump into the exciting stuff. You just came back from a visit to the property where you guys did a ton of stuff. Without giving it away, I'll let you if you want to take it from here and kind of say what you did and some of the things that you did on your great trip.
Yeah. Basically, we got all the sort of first phase exploration done. I guess the most important part was actually getting guys on the ground to do some detailed mapping and some more prospecting and sampling for both geochem and whole rock analysis, so we can kind of have a better idea of what's happening, with the rocks and to be able to have a better understanding of alteration and that kind of thing. The airborne VTEM was completed November 2nd, so we're expecting that data within 4 weeks, I would think. We did 70 till samples, which were basically infill from some of the historic stuff. So we had some really good tills in the past, and we wanted to fill in some of those gaps and see, what they related to with some of the historic rock samples, gold anomalies that we have. Then, for the most part, we were able to get the LiDAR and the imagery done. So basically now we're kind of waiting for all those reports to come in, and kind of excited about seeing what is going to happen in the next phase.
Yeah. So pretty crazy, a ton of stuff, airborne, till samples, other testing. So it looks like you guys are going to have a very busy Christmas with some planning, which I know we'll cover kind of the 2021 stuff. Curious for the people watching this who might not be huge mining people, but as of recently, of course, mining looking hot. Do you want to go over kind of just quickly what an airborne is versus a till sample?
Sure. Basically, the airborne survey that we did was VTEM, virtual time electromagnetic survey, and basic helicopter borne. So the helicopter flies the grid over we did the whole property, and basically you check for the electromagnetic anomalies. So you're going to see structures. You're also going to see mineralization. There are some sections there that we know have sulfides in silicified rock. So those should show up, and it would give us a basic trend of what structures are there. We know where some are, and we'll be able to extrapolate where they go with that data. As for till sampling, basically you're sampling the glacial till, and so you dig a bunch of pits and hope they're not too deep, but most of them were reasonable. You get a sample of the till, soil, etc., in the pit, and basically you count how many gold grains are in there, and you can extrapolate some content as to what is up ice.
Yeah.
So
Cool. No, exciting. It sounds like it was a good trip. Of course, I'm sure there's going to be questions, and we'll be able to go over kind of what things look like as data starts coming in. So, you say, of course, you're waiting for a bunch of data, which then should probably shape what's going to happen in 2021. Do you want to chat about just in general what the plans are for the property over the next year? It doesn't need to be, oh, we're going to be drilling exactly on this date or that date, but just, what can you expect as next steps for people?
well, I think that the next step would be to obviously compile all the data, and then look at redoing some of the compilation maps in order to see what the associations from rock samples to silt samples to till samples, and relating that to the structures that we find in geophysics. That'll give us a better target to go and look at more specific areas. The property's massive, and you sort of have to start looking and in more detail at certain areas. I think for the most part, we're looking at maybe doing some IP based on that data to get a little bit better handle on it, a little bit better definition, and then obviously some trenching to see what actually is there, see if we can find the outcrop, and then drilling. So those are the stages in progression that you have to do systematically, one to the next in order to get a good drill target.
Fair. Well, I guess I'll ask, what are you most excited for?
Well, I mean, obviously, you like to be able to get to the point where you can drill an outcrop that we've opened up. So we have a couple of samples that we took in this exploration season that were outcrop quartz veins in the sediments. Are very exciting to have a look at what's there. So if we can relate those to some of these other data points, then that's a huge bonus for us and a good step forward.
Yeah. No, so exciting next couple weeks, hopefully with data coming in. I guess kind of next question, you mentioned just before we were recording that you got out of there before the ton of snow. Do you want to talk about kind of the weather, the climate there, and when do you think you'll be back?
Well, I think the weather, obviously it's winter in Newfoundland. They get snow. As last year in St. John's had 10 feet of snow or something in January. So that kind of affects the basic geology groundwork that you're doing. It wouldn't affect doing IP, and it wouldn't affect doing drilling. I mean, you can do that in the wintertime too. So, I mean, all of those things that can be done. Access there is pretty good for us. So we've got a lot of roads. So, we can get in there when we need to. And I think that for the most part, it's not brutal. Being in Northern Ontario or Nunavut or something, it doesn't get that brutal, but it gets winter.
Yeah, well, you mentioned it. It sounded like quite a bit of snow. So, well, interesting. I think this has been a good video. Look, a lot of data coming. Of course, we'll be able to do some crazy videos, I'm sure, show people some stuff coming forward. Anything you wanted to touch on, either about the property highlights or about the trip that you think we missed?
I think that the one sort of highlight, there is a lot of structure there that's related to the Cape Ray, Valentine Lake fault or shear area that goes up through our property. And I think that once we kind of get a good handle on exactly where that goes through, we'll have over 20 kilometers of strike of that zone, and learning from some of the other guys. That's super important, and we're happy that we can actually start getting more detail on that area.
Yeah. Oh, cool. I mean, we can do again a ton of things. We got a lot of videos to come. There's gonna be data. We can go over, of course, these faults that you're talking about, other mines, talk about news recently in the industry. So a lot of good videos coming. But let's leave it here. Let's leave people with a teaser. It sounds like you guys did a ton of work. So hopefully some exciting data to look at. Jeff, thanks for joining. I think this was great.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you for having me.